5th grade. Today we're going to be doing lesson 10.1, customary length. Our essential question is how can you compare and convert customary units of length? So let's talk about the 4 units of customary length. We know them as the inch, foot, yard, and mile. Something I would typically measure in inches would be the length of a pencil. Something I would measure in a foot would be the length of a table. Something I would measure in yards would be the length of a football field. And then something that I would measure in miles would be the distance from my house to school. Each unit of length has a specific measurement. There's also a certain hierarchy of these measurements. So, an inch is less than a foot is less than a yard, and a yard is less than a mile. We could say that backwards as well, as a mile is greater than a yard is greater than a foot, and a foot is greater than an inch. So I wouldn't measure the length of a table in yards. That just isn't the correct unit of measurement. It doesn't make sense. So let's look more in depth about our units of length. So 12 inches is equal to 1 foot, 3 feet are equal to 1 yard, 1,760 yards is equal to 1 mile, and 5,280 feet is also equal to 1 mile. We can see the hierarchy of our units of length in this chart here. Inches is less than feet, feet is less than yards, yards is less than miles. So if we are going from a smaller unit of measure to a larger unit of measure, we are going to divide. So for example, if I was going from inches to feet, I would divide the number of inches by how many inches there are in a foot, which is 12 inches. Let's say I'm going from a bigger unit of measure to a smaller unit of measure. I would use the operation of multiplication. So if I were going from feet to inches, I would multiply the number of inches in 1 foot by how many feet that I have. I want you to think and use common sense. Since there's 12 inches in 1 foot, it would be reasonable to have more inches than feet when we're converting from feet to inches. This flow chart is going to be your best friend. This chart is going to help you convert the different units of measure. All you have to do is follow the arrows. Now, I know typically we don't do this in math class, but for this chapter, I always make an exception. You may use a calculator to convert between the different units of measurement. Because we are dealing with larger numbers and for efficiency reasons, we're just going to use a calculator. For example, if I'm moving from yards to feet, I would take the number of yards that I have and then I would multiply it by 3 because that's the number of feet that are in 1 yard to get my feet. Let's say that I'm going from yards to miles. Since I'm going from a smaller unit of measure up to a larger, I would divide. So I would follow the yards, divide the number of yards. I would divide the number of yards that I have by 1,760 to get the number of miles. To use this flow chart, you must follow these arrows. For example, if I am converting miles to feet, I can't just jump over converting it to yards. I have to first convert the number of miles to the number of yards, and then the number of yards to the number of feet. So let's look at an example here. 3 feet is equal to how many inches? There's 3 steps we're going to do when we're converting measurements. First one you're going to do is you're going to decide, are we converting from a larger to a smaller unit of measure or a smaller to a larger unit of measurement? Well, feet are greater than inches, so I'm going from a bigger unit of measure to a smaller unit of measure, so that tells me that I need to multiply. Now I'm going to think about my conversions. So I'm going to go over here to my chart. I'm going from feet to inches. There are 12 inches in 1 foot. So if I have 3 feet, I'm going to multiply that by 12 to get the number of inches. So when I multiply, finally, 3 times 12 equals 36. So 3 feet is equal to 36 inches. Our next example is converting 363 feet to yards. First step again is I'm going to decide whether I'm multiplying or dividing. So I am going from feet up to yards. I'm going from a smaller unit to a bigger unit, so I'm going to divide. So now I'm thinking, there are 3 feet in 1 yard. So that means I'm going to divide the number of feet that I have by 3 to determine the number of yards. So 363 divided by 3 equals 121. So 363 feet is equal to 121 yards. So here is an example where we need to jump 2 units of measurement to get our final answer. 33 yards is equal to how many inches? So I'm going from yards to inches. So that means I need to do a total of 2 conversions. First, I need to do yards to feet and then feet to inches. So I have to first figure out if I am multiplying or dividing. I am going from yards, which is a bigger unit of measure, to inches, which is a smaller unit. So that tells me I need to multiply. Now I'm thinking, there are 3 feet in 1 yard, and there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So if I have 33 yards, to find the number of feet in 33 yards, I would multiply by 3. 3 times 33 is 99. Now I need to multiply the number of feet I have, which is 99, by the number of inches in 1 foot, which is 12. So when I multiply everything out, I get a total of 1,188. So 33 yards is equal to 1,188 inches. Now it's time for share and show. So I would like you to pause this video and I would like you to convert 300 miles to yards and 48 feet to yards. Remember, use the chart to help you. 300 miles is equal to how many yards? So the first step I need to decide is if I am multiplying or if I am dividing. So I'm going from miles to yards. So I'm going from a larger unit to a smaller unit, so I need to multiply. Now I'm thinking, 1 mile is equal to 1,760 yards. So I need to multiply the total number of miles that I am converting, which is 300, by 1,760. 300 times 1,760 is equal to 528,000. So 300 miles is equal to 528,000 yards. Next, we're going to convert feet to yards. So my first question is if I need to multiply or divide. I am going from feet, which is a smaller unit, up to yards, which is a larger unit. So when I go from small to big, I divide. So now let's think. 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. So if I divide the number of feet I have by 3, I will get the total number of yards. So 48 feet divided by 3 yards is equal to 16.
So 48 feet is equal to 16 yards.
Now it's your turn. On your own, I would like you to review the lesson 11.1 notes and rewatch this video if necessary. Complete the independent practice quiz. You may use the flowchart to help you, and you may also use a calculator for the conversions. Then I'd like you to answer the discussion question, what is the error? Please use complete sentences in your answer and make sure that you have answered every part of the question. Then for 15 minutes, you have a choice of playing Prodigy, First in Math, or Dreambox. If you have any questions, please send me a message through Schoology, and I will talk to you soon. Have a beautiful day. Bye!